Tonight, I'm taking you on board Thailand's newest night train. Introduced in late 2016, these new Chinese sleeper trains, with their striking metallic design, were purchased as part of a massive $130 million deal for 9 complete brand new trains. And they look to be a massive upgrade over much of the older rolling stock. So what are these newish trains like? How do their features stack up against the old trains? And how well do you sleep? Let's find out, so join me on the 14-hour overnight journey from Bangkok to Hat Yai as we explore Thailand's newest night train. Our journey begins from Bangkok's absolutely huge new main train station, the Bangkok Grand Station. I mean, just take a look at the scale of this thing, it's absolutely massive. Right, so let's head inside and try and find our train platform. But first we have to go through a very thorough security screening. All trains depart from a dedicated area of the terminal, with our service today to Hat Yai being from the E part of the station. My first impressions of the station is that it feels very quiet and overbuilt. But there is good reason for this, which I'll get into a little later. Despite the empty feeling, there are people using the station and plenty of facilities. I for instance really like this model boat on display. But of course the more essential features of a train station is found by the boarding areas, which is well signposted. The station comes a bit more to life in this area, as this is where most facilities are. This includes lots of seating and loads of these phone charging spots. In terms of food and drink, the options are a bit restricted at the moment, limited to mostly small stalls with drinks or baked goods. For a proper meal, either visit the dining car on the train or eat before coming here. So, you're probably wondering why the station feels a bit unfinished and overbuilt. Well, Thailand has loads of plans to expand its existing railway network, including many new services on its older narrow gauge railway network and a whole separate new system of high-speed railway lines. So in order to handle all of this potential new railway traffic, the station, in a rare act of future-proofing, has been built to be able to handle all of these new train projects should they all be built. Boarding at this train station is through the various gates and very similar to the airport experience, with people lining up way before departure time. Once your train is called for boarding, you will need to scan your ticket at the boarding gate. Once you're through, check the screen to see which escalator to take to get to your carriage. A long escalator takes you up to the platform, but if you for instance have heavy luggage, a lift is also available. The station and train crew will help you locate your carriage. And here we have it, the newest type of night train in Thailand. With the entire deal for 9 complete trains coming in at $130 million, means the rough value of the carriages we are on tonight is about a whopping $14 million. And here we have our carriage. Heading on board into the second class sleeper, where my bed for the night is located. And I have to say, my first impressions are great. The carriage is nicely lit. It looks clean and comfortable. Here's my assigned seat, which we'll see transform into a proper bed later in the video. Waiting at your seat, you'll find a bottle of water. And while we wait for departure time to come around, I went to have a look at our locomotive. These were built by CRRC and carry the nickname Ultraman, with a top speed of 120 km/h. Back on board, our train departs on time at 16:50. Departure out of the station is very slow, but will take place over a series of very impressive viaducts. The station is built with staggered platforms on top of each other, and these all have to merge up and down as we come out of the station, although most of these platforms are yet to be in use. The electrified track you see here is used by the SRT Red Line, a commuter rail service in and out of Bangkok. The two Red Line services is the only electrified part of Thailand's expansive narrow gauge railway network. Just north of the station, we pass the major grade separated junction separating the main line heading north and ours towards the west and south. This is also where we pass over the line leading into Bangkok's former main station, where long distance services used to terminate. Nowadays, this is mostly used by local and commuter trains. And with us now accelerating out of Bangkok, let's take a closer look at the route map for tonight's journey. Special Express 31 leaves Bangkok heading west before continuing south all the way down most of the length of Thailand, roughly along the coast, before terminating the next morning in Hat Yai. This is a distance of 936 kilometers covered in 14 hours 15 minutes, giving the train an average speed of 66 kilometers per hour. Heading out of Bangkok, we run elevated on a new set of viaducts. These viaducts opened in 2012 as part of the Light Red Line commuter rail project, aimed to improve reliability and speed up journeys. While long distance and other local and regional services continued to use the old mainline tracks down at ground level for a few more years. Eventually though, long distance services like ours were moved up on the viaduct. However, our trip up on the viaduct ends as we have to come down to serve Bang Bamru Station. And here you can really see the contrast between the new high floor station for the Red Line commuter services and the infrastructure with low platforms for the old local trains. And as we have now swapped the skyline of Bangkok for some more rural scenery, let's take a closer look at the seat. This is what it looks like in day mode, with the top bunk folded away on top. Luggage can be stored in the smaller overhead racks here, found in the middle of the corridor. There's also a slightly bigger space below the seats, but really big bags will have to go in the corridor, so maybe don't bring them. When the seat/bed is in day mode, you'll find a nice sturdy table like this. And both bunks get this power outlet and reading light combination. Overall, these seats are pretty comfortable, but we'll see how I slept once we get to Hat Yai. There's still a lot more to see on this train, including the dining car, but for now I just sat back and enjoyed the sunset from the comfort of my seat. And with the last bit of daylight almost gone, let's go have a look at the rest of the carriage. Well, it's fairly simple. Everything is just bunk beds along the corridor like this. And you'll find these nice modern electronic displays showing journey information throughout the carriage as well. At one end of the carriage is where you'll find the toilets. And while the toilets are fairly compact, it's easy to use. Features a clean Western style toilet with a working flush as well as toilet paper. The sink was also working and had good pressure. Clean and in good condition, so thumbs up. With not much left to see out of the window, it's time to head to the dining car for some dinner. In the meantime, I've told the cabin attendant to make up our beds while we go to the dining car. The carriage next to the dining car is the accessible one with the accessible toilet, as well as ramps for boarding low floor platforms. And here we have the dining car, with nice decorations celebrating Chinese New Year. I grabbed this empty booth and placed my order with the waiter when he passed by the table. And in addition to the special Chinese New Year stuff, there's also this fake flower bouquet. And here's me and my travel companion's meal sets. I had a Penang curry with rice, some watermelon and a side soup. The meal tasted fine, but was nothing special, with the entire set, including the bottle of water, setting me back 190 baht or about €5. While a little expensive for Thailand, It's hardly a bad deal considering we are on a train. And now I'm back at my seat. We can see the crew has nicely prepared the 2 bunks for sleeping. Thai Railways provide a nice big pillow, as well as a large red blanket. The bed is a little short, but I think it'll do. Our train is currently stopped in Hua Hin, one of Thailand's most popular beach resorts. And despite sitting on the side of the beach, due to the time of day, I am not able to show you much of it. So instead, it was just time to get the bunk ready for some sleep. And I will say, these carriages are actually really quiet. But despite them having a pretty good suspension system, it isn't always possible to cancel out all the minor movements. Also, be aware the lights in the corridor are not turned off during the night and the air condition is left blasting, keeping the carriage around 20 degrees, so dress and plan accordingly. And now it's time for me to say goodnight. I wake up just before sunrise after having slept really well. I managed to mostly sleep undisturbed during the night. The bed is well padded, surprisingly wide, and the pillow comfortable and large. But I will say for a guy who's 187 centimeters tall, it was a little short. We are now passing through southern Thailand, about an hour from Hat Yai. And even this far away from Khao San Road up in Bangkok, you will still find plenty of bright and colorful lights. Unfortunately, the sunrise this morning is a lot less spectacular than the sunset in Bangkok last night. The grey and slightly misty weather giving a slightly mysterious feel to this part of the world I've never been to before, as we pass through the small towns and their stations non-stop. And as we are now approaching the outskirts of Hat Yai, it's time to sum up my thoughts on these relatively new Chinese sleepers. Overall, I had a great experience. While the older night trains are still kept in good condition, the beds are more comfortable and the ride quality is much better on these Chinese carriages. The curtains gives a nice sense of privacy in your bunk, despite this basically being one big hostel dorm on wheels. I wish this was more common on night trains in Europe in the couchette style accommodation. And taking the train is really affordable too, with tickets in the lower bunk being a fixed price of 1,100 baht, which is about 29 euros. They can easily be booked online using the D-Ticket website or vendors such as 12Go, but be aware that long-distance trains in Thailand often sell out, so best to book a little ahead. Our train pulls into Hat Yai Station at 7:15, running 10 minutes behind schedule. I had a great trip on board these new Chinese carriages. Have you tried them or any other night trains in Thailand? I'd love to know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me on this trip. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you are subscribed to the channel as I try to post a new one every Sunday. You can also follow me over on Blue Sky at intercitysimon.com. I usually post live from my travels over there, so it's a great place to get a sneak peek at what videos might be coming on the channel in the future. Thanks for watching.